In the famous words of Henry Ford, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. You see, what Ford was getting at with those famous words was the fact that self-belief is so pivotal to our ability to create and live out our best lives. So that's why I want to take some time today to chat about self-belief and how you can develop more of it. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Lifehack Show. I'm your host, Justin Aldridge, and like I said, today we're talking about self-belief. But before we get into that, I just want to remind you, as always, if you're enjoying this content, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. And also, before we dive in, I want to tell you about a great resource that we've created for you here at Lifehack. If you're somebody who has big goals, dreams, and aspirations for your life, which I know you do, otherwise you wouldn't be here, go and download our Dreamer's Guide for Taking Action and Making Goals Happen. This is a vital tool for being able to set and achieve those big goals that you have. So click the link above or find it in the description below and go and download that resource so that you can start tackling those biggest goals. Now, let's dive in. All right. So before we get into talking about 8 simple strategies that you can use for increasing your self-belief, I want to talk for just a minute about why self-belief is so important. I want to give you 3 reasons why you need to make sure that you're making self-belief a priority in your life so that you can achieve those goals that you have. The first reason why self-belief is so important is because it directly impacts your confidence. Self-belief and confidence go hand in hand. You can't have one without the other. See, the problem is that a lot of people think that self-confidence is something that you're born with, that you either have it or you don't at birth. And that couldn't be further from the truth. Confidence, just like any other skill, is something that you acquire. Well, how do you acquire it? By taking action, by showing up and continuously doing something over and over and over again. Think about it. The first time you went to go play a sport or get up on stage and do a speech or anything really, you didn't have a whole lot of confidence in your ability to be able to do it. So what got you up there? It was your self-belief. It was your belief in yourself to actually show up and do the thing. Well, self-confidence is nothing more than your belief in your ability to show up. So self-belief is really the catalyst or the foundation upon which confidence is built. So as you continue to show up, you continue to do the thing, you continue to take action, your self-belief is going to increase. Therefore, your confidence is going to increase, and you're going to find that you're getting much, much better at whatever it is that you're trying to do. Reason number 2 that you need to increase your self-belief is because it allows you to reframe failure. You see, people who achieve at high levels, who are extremely successful, they don't lack self-belief. And one of the reasons why is because they don't get down on themselves about failure. People who don't achieve, on the other hand, they see failure as a stopping point. They see it as something about them, that it means something negative about who they are as a person. But people who are high achievers, they're able to detach themselves from failure, and they're actually able to use failure as a learning opportunity, to step back, to evaluate the situation and figure out how can they change going forward. And so failure actually becomes something that high achievers seek out in a way, because it allows them to know this isn't the right thing to do or that isn't the right thing to do, but they're able to extract information and wisdom that's going to set them up to be much, much more successful in the future. So by increasing your self-belief, you're going to allow yourself to reframe that failure, which is going to give you that knowledge and wisdom that you need to break through to those big goals that you have. And then the third reason why self-belief is so important is because it allows you to create a positive mindset. Look, people who are extremely negative, they don't tend to be high achievers. That's just a fact. When you're very pessimistic, when you're always down, when you've always got a negative attitude or outlook, it's hard for you to go out there and to take inspired action, which is something that's required to being that high achiever, to achieving those big goals that you have for yourself. But when you have self-belief, it allows you to be able to flip things, to be able to adopt that positive mindset that you're going to need to break through to that next level. So now that we know 3 reasons why self-belief is so important, let's talk about 8 strategies that you can use to develop more self-belief in your life. Reason number 1, get clear on who you want to be. All right, clarity is the foundation for success. I will just come out and say that. So many people are trying to achieve things in their life, whether it's in their career, in their health, in their relationships, but they're not getting clear on what the desired outcome is. And they're not going a step deeper in figuring out who do they need to be in order to create the result. All right, we've all heard it said that success is an inside job. And it's so true. And this is exactly what they're speaking to when they say those. It's getting clear and setting the intention on who you want to be. The reality is the version of you as you are right now can't achieve the goals and the dreams that you have. Otherwise, you would already have them. So you've got to get crystal clear on who you want to be, how you want to show up. And when you do that and you start showing up in that way, you're going to find that your self-belief naturally starts to increase. So take some time, get out a pen and paper and write out, describe that best version of you, that higher level version of you that you want to be, and start showing up each and every day. Take a look at that list when you wake up, show up as that version of you, and your self-belief is naturally going to increase. The second way that you can increase your self-belief is to affirm yourself. Look, let's be honest. It makes us feel good when people compliment us. Heck, it makes other people feel good when we compliment them. But why don't we take the time to compliment ourselves? I don't know if it's the fear of people thinking that we're vain, or people think that it's some hyper spiritual woo-woo thing to affirm ourselves. Whatever the reason is, people have this natural tendency to not want to affirm themselves. But the problem is if you're always relying on other people to have to affirm you, you may be waiting forever. We all have different lives and different circumstances, and not everybody has those outside people around them, at least not in their immediate environment, who will affirm them. So you've got to become steadfast in affirming yourself. Congratulate yourself. Reward yourself. Affirm yourself for doing the things that you should be doing and creating the life that you want to create. When you affirm yourself, it's naturally going to raise your self-belief. It's going to make you feel better about yourself. So take some time. Figure out some ways that you can affirm yourself so that you can grow your self-belief. My personal favorite strategy for growing your self-belief is facing your fears. There is nothing, and I mean nothing, that grows confidence inside of me more than stepping up against something that I am terrified of doing. I'm sure you can resonate. So in your life, figure out what are those things that have been holding you back? What are those fears inside of you that have been preventing you from moving forward? Think about your goals. What are the fears around them? Is it a fear of judgment? Is it a fear of failure? Maybe a fear of success. Whatever it is, when you can identify those fears and you can take action in the face of them, I promise you, your self-belief will grow. So identify your fears. Take some time. Be honest with yourself. Most people don't want to do that. We want to be all tough and brave and be like, I'm not afraid of anything. But it's not true. We know that. So take some time. Be honest. Get clear on what are those fears that are holding you back and start taking action, and I promise your self-belief is going to go up. One strategy that's often underrated by most people for growing your self-belief is addressing your inner critic. You know what I'm talking about. That little pessimistic voice going off inside of your head. That one that's always holding you back. That one that's making you feel stuck and playing small. That inner critic is keeping your self-belief low. So you've got to address it. All right, I'm not saying you got to sit there and talk to yourself. Although if you want to do that, by all means, go ahead. I talk to myself sometimes. It's all good. All right. You've got to take the time to address that inner critic if you want to grow your self-belief. Because the reality is, we've got enough people around us who say things to us or about us that make us feel small. But think about how much more amplified it is when it's going on inside of our own minds. Most people think that our minds are things that are controlled outside of us, like there's some extraterrestrial being that's controlling our minds, but it's not true. You've just got to actually sit down and put in the work to do it though. So address that inner critic. Take the time to really go inward, to really connect with yourself, and to address your inner critic and say to it, step aside, I'm moving in the direction of my goals. Number 5, be prepared to win. So many people are showing up to life every single day and they're just going through the motion. or they don't have an intention to win. Well, I look at it as if you're not expecting to win and you're not preparing to win, then you're expecting to lose. So you get to decide every single day when you show up. Are you going to show up prepared and ready to win? Or are you going to show up expecting to fail? Figure out what you want to do. I know for me personally, whenever I actually sit down and I prepare and I create the intention inside of me that I'm going to go out, I'm going to take action, and I'm going to win, my self-confidence and my self-belief go up so much. So take the time to actually sit down and create that expectation inside of you that you're going to win. Do the actions necessary to prepare yourself in whatever it is that you're going out to do so that your self-belief can grow. The sixth great strategy for growing your self-belief is encouraging others. Just like affirming yourself, encouraging others brings back this feeling of joy and this feeling of satisfaction inside of us. Now, I'm not saying that you should go and encourage other people simply so that you can get something back. No, you should encourage other people because you feel it in your heart to encourage other people. But what I do know is that when we encourage others, we instill the law of reciprocity, which means that other people naturally want to reciprocate and they want to encourage and affirm us. You see how that works? So go out and encourage other people. Because not only is it going to make you feel better about you, and it's going to grow your self-belief internally, but it's also going to increase your chances of other people encouraging and affirming you, which will continue to grow that self-belief from externally. Number 7, take care of yourself. Your mind, your body, your spirit have got to be well taken care of if you want to have a high self-belief. When you're running yourself into the ground, or you're just flat out not taking care of yourself, it gets really easy for your self-belief to go down and down and down. Think about it. If you don't feel good about yourself physically, how do you think your self-belief's going to be? Or if you're not developing your mental game, you're not taking care of your mind, how are you going to feel about yourself? If you're not getting the rest, or you're not getting the spiritual development that you need in your life, you're not going to feel good about yourself. So you've got to make sure that you're making your health and your well-being a priority to increase your self-belief. Most people don't do this. We see numbers where a certain percentage of the population is obese. We know that the vast majority of people aren't getting enough sleep. A lot of people don't have a spiritual and emotional practice in their life. If you want to grow your self-belief, make sure that you're making your self-care a priority and that you're taking care of yourself. And then lastly, number 8, cut out negative people. There are very few things that can just slam your self-belief more than negative people. The way I look at it, this life is too short and I ain't got time for them. All right, so if you want to grow your self-belief, if you're serious about really going after those goals and dreams and you want to grow and develop the self-belief necessary to do just that, you've got to evaluate the people around you and you've got to either cut out or distance yourself from negative people. So look at your social circle, evaluate the people who are around you, and start being honest about who are those negative people that you need to create distance from. Because when you do that, you're going to find that you don't have all that negative chatter going on. We got enough stuff going on in here on our own. We don't need outside voices making it worse. Thank you very much. So evaluate those people and create distance where possible, or cut people out altogether. When you can do that, your self-belief will grow. So there you have it. I told you, they're simple, but they're not necessarily easy. So do me a favor, in the comments below, let me know which one of those strategies most resonates with you and you think will have the biggest impact on your self-belief. And going back to number 8, cutting out negative people, if you're serious about wanting to surround yourself with positive people, go over to Facebook and check out our free Facebook community. It's a group of like-minded men and women coming together to not only encourage and support each other, but to empower one another to go out and to crush your biggest goals. So click the link above or down in the description below and go and join that community. With that being said, that concludes this video. Hop on over to lifehack.org for more great tools, tips, and resources just like this, or stay tuned for the next video.